DeAndre Hopkins went on the I Am Athlete podcast, and he said, Josh Allen is the new age Andrew Luck. His exact quote is, one of my favorite quarterbacks that I've been watching since he came into the league is Josh Allen. He reminds me of a new school Andrew Luck. I love Josh Allen. One, I want to know, Brady, is Josh Allen the new Andrew Luck? And what exactly does that mean? And then I want to talk about something else that D-Hop said about where he'd like to go. So we'll start there.
I don't know. I have no idea what that means. When I watch them, I don't see similarities in their play. I think as far as like overall, just like Super Bowl caliber winning quarterbacks, they're both that. Like a guy who, if Andrew Luck kept playing, Hall of Famer. I think if Josh Allen continues to play and wins a Super Bowl and keeps adding to his resume and wins an MVP, like I think he's capable of being a Hall of Famer, there's no doubt. That's kind of where I'd stop. I mean, I think they both have very different styles in which how they go about doing it. I mean, Andrew Luck was a sneaky good athlete. I don't think he got credit for how athletic he was, but I also don't think he was as I don't think he was the type to like want to look to take off and run. When Josh Allen first got into the league, he was very much doing that. Andrew Luck was always more of your kind of cerebral quarterback who's looking to make the right throw, right decision. He'll run if he has to, but he understands that's not necessarily what he wants to be doing. And so there's obviously differences, I think, in the way they play. I think Josh Allen's probably got a stronger arm. Not saying that Luck's arm isn't strong. He had a really strong arm, but it just wasn't Josh Allen strong, which may be the strongest in the NFL. So, I'm not sure what that means, but look, it sounds more than anything else. Look, if that's what you're looking at, I think you're missing the point. I think that's maybe the quarterback that DeAndre Hopkins wouldn't mind trying to go play with, because he's putting out a list of what he wants from his quarterback that was out there, which is also something that is a little bit concerning. If you have to put out a list of what you're looking for, then maybe you're already saying that, like, I don't have that right now, right? Like, if
Tyler Murray.
Yeah, he was saying that, dude.
Like, hey, this is what I'm looking for out of a relationship, and you're in a relationship. Well, you're obviously not getting that then in your current one.
Yeah. If we're like, you know what we're looking for in our former professional football analyst to join the podcast, like we're really hoping for a guy who played defense, shorter, weak arm, went to a little unheralded public school in college. Just some of those things, maybe like lives in somewhere other than Florida. We're just looking for, not to be specific here, just looking for some things about this guy. I mean, like he would say, DeAndre Hopkins was like, I just want to go to a franchise with decent ownership and sufficient management. It's like, God, dude, like just
quarterback who loves football. I was like, ooh, okay. Well,
quarterback who isn't obsessed with Call of Duty. It's like, okay, that was really specific.
I've heard it's a great game. All right. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. Like, you can't really judge someone unless you played it. I don't play it, so I don't know. The people who do play are like, dude, don't do it, because you will get addicted to it if you start playing Call of Duty. And I'll be honest with you, I feel like I've watched some other people who like took a hard stance against it. They started playing video games. They got themselves addicted. Sure. All right. Just saying.
You're more of a Link, Breath of the Wild type of guy?
I was more of what was the one? Was it Doom you used to play on your keyboard back in the day? Remember, like, computer? Yeah. You have those like different guns, just killing aliens and stuff. That was probably the last game I really was like, all right, like I need to stop doing this. Like, I've got a problem.
I tapped out around Mario Kart, so didn't really get into
Mario Kart. Mario Kart came back though.
I think back Bond and Nintendo 64. That was when Bond came out as a multiplayer game like that. And I would dominate with the proximity mines. Like, I would just literally plant them everywhere and then hide in the corner.
What do you think? You're some proximity mine unicorn? Everybody did that.
People would die, and then they pop up again. They die again. They'd be like, "This stinks. I don't want to play anymore." I'd be like,
"Well." And so what would happen is if you knew the levels of GoldenEye that well and you played it that much, and we did. I did, because that was like the game in high school, college, like when it came out in high school. And you would know where people would pop back up, and so you could drop the proximity mines where people would launch back after they died. And once you got one, you just be like, you kill your little brother like 32 times in a row. You slam in the controller, scream like, "I hate you, Will, Mom, Dad." And just good times.
Such a good game.
Such a good game. Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break here, but okay, so D-Hop wants good ownership, a quarterback who loves the game, and a great defense. Now, of course, that sounds...
You cannot say San Francisco, though.
It sounds like the Bills. Well, by the way, it is San Francisco, but I know that D-Hop isn't going there. But those three things, Brady, you know it, too. You know it. You just complimented Jed York and the Niners, so you know that it's good ownership. We've got 3 quarterbacks who love the game, and
Can we just do
Cody
one
Mackey's
show
good on the
about
defense.
talking about the 49ers, just one.
However,
It's just insane that he's like a quarterback who loves the game, a quarterback who brings everybody on board and pushes not just himself, but everybody around him. Like, it is just an absolute slap. Can we just not talk about the Eagles too? Just one show.
Yeah. Okay, but is he talking about the Bills here? Who is he
No,
talking
he's
about?
just talking crap about Kyler Murray. Is all he's doing. Like he's
Well,
just,
this is the path you go down when you want to not be a part of the team, right? Like Kyler Murray's under contract. They've got a new head coach. They've got a new general manager. They obviously haven't moved on from Kyler, and they kind of can't because of the contract. So he's there for this year. We don't know what happens after this year, right? And look, that's not saying that like Kyler Murray can't turn things around. I mean, we tend to forget the first 3 years he was building towards being that player that, obviously got a second deal, but becoming the player that a lot of people thought he was going to be as the number 1 overall prospect. Last year was a lot of difficult things working on. So I think people should pump the brakes, give him a chance to recover, and we'll see what next year looks like, even though it could be an uphill battle with the roster. All that being said, this is the path that DeAndre Hopkins probably has to take if he wants to move on. And I think he's at the point in time of his career. He's proven how good he is. He's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL when healthy. And he's towards the end where it's like he wants to go get a ring. He wants to go out there and have a shot at doing it. And I think this is unfortunately either the path that he's chosen to take because he's thought a lot about it, or maybe he's being coached by his agents. I mean, God forbid we ever have agents get involved with messaging and part of the process. But it's the unfortunate reality of how this works if you want to try to get to another team.
What does that do to a locker room, either the locker room that he's in or the locker room that he will be potentially going to, that there is a player who is kind of bad-mouthing his organization and his quarterback trying to get out? Do you look at them differently as a player, or do you just understand that it's the business?
good question.
No, you understand it's the business part of it, but it definitely is the human nature part where if that's a leader and that's a guy who's got the trust of a lot of the guys in the locker room and he's viewed as a leader, then they're going to be looking at what he's doing and they're going to be saying, like maybe I shouldn't be following this guy, or maybe he's not the guy. So there's no doubt about it. When you've got a guy who's as accomplished as DeAndre Hopkins is, and he's speaking out publicly, it emboldens others to speak out publicly. It emboldens others to be like, I need to get out of here too then, because I don't want to be a part of a rebuild, or I don't want to be a part of a sinking ship. And as bad as that sounds, the lifespan in the NFL is really short. And a lot of players, as much as you want to play for the team and all that, you're really playing for the name on the back of your jersey. And I know it sounds terrible to say, and you wish that wasn't the case, but that's the truth.